Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome to the Daily Antidote of Song on a Monday in June, almost July. Really glad everybody is here today for another day of the daily. I have to find Carolyn. 813. Thank you, Carolyn. 813 days of singing together in this room with folks from all around the world, our song leaders and our usnesses. We're all here again to sing together, which says so much about this beautiful community. We just can't get away from each other, which I love. I definitely can't get away from Reggie because he has a smile. Watch on cue. He has a smile. Reggie. There you go. The smile that won't quit. Somebody in the room, I think it was Carolyn, said Reggie and I should have a smile off contest, which I think would be really fun.
Oh, it's
Reggie.
on.
1, 2, 3. All right. Hello, everybody out there on Facebook Live. Glad you guys are all here to sing with us today. Thank you so much for being here. And so glad to have in the room with us today, Alastair, coming in from the Boston area, and Reggie's going to tell you more about him. Alastair's first time singing with us today, so everybody be on your best or worst as you see fit behavior. Reggie coming in from New York, glad to have you with us today. Reggie, thank you for being here. Anna, running tech, glittery Anna, coming in from the Pine Woods camp, glad to see you, Anna. And Dan in Vienna, hello, nice to see you. Ruth in Birmingham, UK, glad you're here again today. Hi, Annette in California, great to see you. Mabel, Bob, and the Bears all in one room in Massachusetts. We got them all together. Bob is not biking this morning. That's because it's raining. We know that. Hello to Jenny in Suffolk, UK. Glad to have you. Hello, Curly Top One. That's Willard with Alice May maybe in the background. Hello, Arlene in Berkeley, California. Carolyn in Boise, Idaho. Sarah in Texas, hello. Hi, Becky coming in from Vancouver. Great to see you. Hugs and love. Hello to Susan Miller in Seattle. Glad you're here today. Thanks, Susan, for joining. Hi, Shari in New Hampshire. Nice to see you. And Kathleen in Albuquerque. And Deborah coming in from her car, which may or may not be in Kentucky. Hi, Dennis in Victoria. Glad to have you. One of our regular song leaders and hosts. Hi, Hoda in British Columbia. Glad to see your smiling face. Aloysius coming in from somewhere around the world. Probably also Massachusetts. Hello, Carolyn in DC. Susan in Ohio. Hello. Hello, Sheila in Florida. Hello, Deli coming in from Maryland. And who else do we have? Bonnie in Idaho. Hi, nice to see you. Luda in Victoria. Hello, glad you're here. Hello to Bob's iPad. Aha, Bob coming in separately after all. Hi, Mahela. Nice to have you with us today. We haven't seen you in a while. Glad you're here. Amanda and Miles. Hello and hello. Jim in New York City, hello. Ralph in Victoria with Penny somewhere in the background, hello and hello. Storm, glad to see you today, coming in from Greenfield, Mass. Jamie in Victoria, glad to see you. Gary, coming also in from Massachusetts. Hey, we got a good Massachusetts group today. Kate in Charlottesville, hello, nice to see you. Bronwyn in Victoria, hello. Hello, Don, the dad of the Curly Top crew, glad to see you today. And hi, Lynn in Connecticut with Darla in the background. Hello to Julie in Ontario, Martha in Oregon, Loriana, Kachina, and Courtney in Vermont. Jan, nice to have you with us today. Not sure where you're from. Hi, Bob in Albany. And Barbara Dean, glad you're here today. Barbara has a great radio show in Massachusetts. Hi to Fred in the DC area. And to Joni, coming in from, I think, Canada. Glad to see all of you today. Here comes Thomas into the room. Hello, Thomas. And thank you again to everybody for being here. Everybody, let's take one big deep breath. You all need a deep breath just for listening to me. I need the deep breath actually to be able to come up with the next sentence, which is I'm turning it over to our fabulous host, Reggie Harris, who's bringing a friend of his who, as I mentioned, is new to us today. Let's all give Reggie and Alastair a big warm welcome. Thank you, Reggie.
Well, thank you, Joe. And you, I don't know how you do those welcome, but you have set the bar so high. And it's wonderful to hear your voice and to feel your energy today. And hello, everyone. I'm so thrilled to be back with you. I saw some of you at the Old Songs Festival over the weekend. And it's always wonderful to see the Daily Antidote family show up in public because now we can do that. Today we are going to enjoy a very special friend of mine, somebody that I've known for a long time, but over the last 2 years, Alastair Moock and I have been talking together, working together, singing together. We do a program called Race and Song. Alastair is a wonderful songwriter, an amazing activist, and is a Grammy winner and a Grammy nominee. And I am so happy to bring him to the family today to share some of his music and some of his amazing presence with us. So, hi, Alastair.
Hi, Reggie.
How are you today?
I'm great. It's great to see you.
Well, I am so glad that you said yes to coming into our room today and to greet all of these amazing people and bring your music with you. So, what do you have for us?
I thought I would do a song today. Maybe the other side of activism is self-care, right? And this is definitely a week that requires self-care, but
Amen.
so have a lot of weeks in the last few years. This song is called Dream, and there's a chorus you can sing along with. It goes like this. Walk on down the street, follow your own feet, listen to your heartbeat and forget the things you know. Breathe on in the air, the evening is your prayer. Just let yourself be there, walking down the road. This world is just a dream, floating down a stream. The moment is the only thing you need. Stop fighting against the current. The things that you've determined, they aren't, and they weren't, and they're never gonna be. Think about the fact that you're just a little speck, a fleck upon an acorn in an ocean's raging storm. In the scheme of time and space, you leave no lasting trace. The troubles that you face have no gravity or form. This world is just a dream, floating down a stream. The moment is the only thing you need. Stop fighting against the current. The things that you've determined, they aren't, and they weren't, and they're never gonna be. The simplicity of Darwin, the flowers in the garden, the molecules of carbon, and the things you never see are just below the surface of this agitated circus. Stop searching for a purpose when the point is just to be. This world is just a dream, floating down a stream. The moment is the only thing you need. Stop fighting against the current. The things that you've determined, they aren't, and they weren't, and they're never gonna be. They aren't, and they weren't, and they're never gonna be.
Ah, they aren't and they weren't, and they're never gonna be. Oh, there's a book in there. Thank you for that great song today. And Alistair, it's so great to see you and be with you today. You want to just tell people a little bit about yourself, where you're from and how you've landed in this great profession of songwriting and activism?
Well, I live in the Boston area these days, grew up in New York. Um, I'm a, Woody Guthrie, early inspiration. John Prine was a big fella for me. But activism was always kind of in my bones and in the air. I suppose my parents were Peace Corps volunteers back in the days. And so they certainly instilled, I seem to be a little frozen. Let me try this.
Okay. Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, good.
Oh, there you are.
Instilled values in me, but I struggled for a long time with figuring out first what to do with that lyrically.
Hmm.
how to write songs that had political content, social justice content in a way that wasn't didactic, right? Yeah, exactly. How do you draw people in? So for me, humor became one tool. And then, as you well know, Reggie, in the last few years, I've really kind of had some personal self-work and reckoning about, is songwriting enough? What else and how else do I need to be getting out there? And, the music's always been there, but for me, getting involved in racial justice specifically on a kind of ground floor way was really transformational. And it started with a group that I helped found in children's music called Family Music Forward, which kind of upended the children's music genre, and then in a kind of backhanded way, the Grammys.
That would be one way to put it. For those of you who don't know, Alastair was one of 5 acts that were nominated for Grammys, and 3 of whom, as white performers, said, no, not on our watch. The Grammys are not representing the diversity of the artists that are in this genre, and they refused their nominations. A pretty bold move, and one that actually within a year had major impact. That with some conversations, and
And
yeah,
the conversations and the other strategy around it was what was key. And the learning process for me, we didn't do this in a bubble. We did it with the guidance and help of Black and brown peers in the genre. And specifically, I was working with folks in this group that were challenging the system. There had been a historical pattern in the Grammys, but it's the kind of liberal, the kind of implicit bias that can happen even in the most well-meaning liberal circles when white people keep putting white people in positions of power who, they aren't aware of the ways in which they're excluding people. They talk about diversity, and I'm very much part of that story for most of my career. But if the people who keep making decisions all look the same and have similar tastes, you end up with the same thing over and over again. So I learned a lot in that journey. And then it led me to discussions with you. And we decided to start modeling our conversations about race in public and with kids but with adults. And that, again, has been transformational for me.
well, it's been transformational for me as well. It's deepened our friendship, and it's, I think, opened both of us to a new way of communicating. And the really exciting thing about it is that a lot of that work has been, not all, but a lot of it has been with young people in schools and in community groups and with their parents. So, and you also opened up an organization called Opening Doors.
Yeah, so just sort of inspired by what you and I were doing largely in the kid space, although we've now done it for literally, 5 to 90. We've done it in a retirement home. We'll be doing it in some colleges in the fall. So, and I've been fascinated about how we sort of had the same conversation. We ramp it up and down for the audience. But the thing I've learned along the way is that in white communities, we're all beginner mind when it comes to talking about race, really. So it doesn't matter whether we're talking to little kids or old folks. We have a lot of learning to do, how to sit with discomfort. And so we've been able to do that, but I wanted to continue those conversations, especially more in the adult realm. So I started this project called Opening Doors, where I've been interviewing mostly musicians of color, and also some musicians doing anti-racist work like Dan Zanes. I've had Dom Flemons from the Carolina Chocolate Drops, a fantastic classical musician, Kelly Hall Tompkins. And we've talked about how navigating different genres, where the biases have been, where the obstacles have been, where the joys and successes have been. And I think one of the strengths of those conversations and my learning along the way was hearing the same patterns over and over again, whether it was folk music, Americana, country music, Reese Palmer I had on, classical. It's the same thing over and over and over again. So there's a lot. And so it's like me learning in real time with the audience, and putting that on display.
Well, I think there's a lot to be said for participating in the learning along with the audience. I know that one of the things I appreciate about you is that you're willing to share, to show the risk, which I think is always a good thing in any teacher or mentor. I mean, obviously, you want to be knowledgeable about what it is you're talking about, but also being willing to learn to be wrong, to model not being perfect in the conversation. I think, particularly now, is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. So learning to be vulnerable, learning to sit with that discomfort and model that, but then working with you. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because you really empowered me to think about my role in the conversation. I think when you and I started, it was more one directional. I was interviewing you with the assumption that, what folks needed to hear was the Black experience in America. And of course, that's true. But somewhere along the way, you said, Alastair, there are things that you can say that folks can hear from you that they can't hear from me. And that started another realm of exploration. And of course, the vice versa is true. And I think one of the powers of what we do is that we are having interracial conversations about race, which is not something that you see a whole lot in our society these days.
No, it gets more and more dangerous as we find ourselves in different silos and as people, are engaged in partisan debates. I just this morning I was speaking to someone who had just reached a point of frustration of trying to reach someone that they knew who just immediately took the opposite view and held on. So these are things that we all need. I want to put in a special plug that we have just recorded a couple of weeks ago, a segment for a serious radio program that is part of the Prisms, The Sound of Color show that I am one of the rotating hosts of, and you and Reese Palmer, the country music artist, and I had a sparkling, deep conversation along with programming some music for a radio show that will be coming up. I'll let the Antidote family know when that's going to be on Sirius Radio, and I'll give you a little secret. If you don't have Sirius Radio, they usually make it available with a special link so that you can listen to it without shelling out the money. Don't tell them I said that. But so that conversation and those songs that we paired together will be coming up as well. So it's so wonderful to talk to you anytime. What do you have coming up, in your musical life?
Well, I've got a bunch of local shows in the Boston area this summer, down on the Cape. And am I still here?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, sorry. And then you and I have a bunch of stuff coming up in the fall. We'll be in Philly. We'll be in the Clearwater Coffee House. We just booked I think in March.
Yep.
And we'll be up in Maine right after that. So they can go to either of our sites, I'm sure, to find out where we'll be together. And if anyone wants to bring us into your community, let me put a plug in. We really, one of the fun things for me with this project is that it's guerrilla style, right? Like we're playing in venues. We played in theater up in Rockport, Maine. We Club Passim, all the sort of traditional spaces, but we're playing in school cafeterias. We're playing in graduated living places. We've played in temples. We've played in churches. I think, everyone needs to have these conversations happening. So if you have thoughts in your area and you want a couple of handsome dudes, give us a shout.
One older, one younger. Well, it's a great pleasure. I'm going to leave here in just a few minutes and go to Henniker, New Hampshire, where I'm performing tomorrow night. So check out my website, check out Alastair's website. And when you come up, I loved being at Old Songs this weekend because at various workshop stages or just walking on the grounds, people would come up and they would say, Daily Antidote, Daily Antidote. And we didn't hug. And we were trying to keep a respectful distance. But we got close and we're able to look into each other's eyes, which is just amazing. After all this time of just being able to be here with each other. Alastair, I'm going to ask you to take us back into that song a little bit. Maybe do the chorus again, and then maybe a verse or two, and then take us out with that chorus, so we can think about self-care, which, as you mentioned, as the world seems to get more and more caustic, it's something that we all really need to pay attention to.
Indeed. As I start this, I was thinking about, the potential tension one might consider between something that says the world is very big and we're very small, and yet at the same time that we have important things to do while we're here. And sometimes figuring out that balance is the key, right? We need to be activists. We need to have our hands in it. And we also need to take care of ourselves. And we need to realize that we are living in a larger space in this world than just ourselves. So here's that chorus. This world is just a dream floating down the stream. The moment is the only thing you need. Stop fighting against the current. The things that you've determined, they aren't, and they weren't, and they're never gonna be. The simplicity of Darwin, the flowers in the garden, the molecules of carbon, and the things you never see are just below the surface of this agitated circus. Stop searching for a purpose when the point is just to be. Sing with me. This world is just a dream floating down a stream. The moment is the only thing you need. Stop fighting against the current. The things that you've determined, they aren't, and they weren't, and they're never gonna be. Take a deep breath. Take care of yourself, and then get back in the fight. They aren't, and they weren't, and they're never gonna be.
Well, everybody, let's show Alastair some love today. And Alastair, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today. You're in the family now.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, Reggie. It's always a pleasure.
And thank you all for being who you are and for being here now. So very grateful.
Thank you so much, Reggie, and thank you so much, Alastair. That was amazing, and I'll say he's in the family. He's like instant perfect fit for the Daily Antidote of Song and all that we do in here. And thanks again. Can we all please give another hand for Alastair? And we do hope to have you back again, Alastair. And Reggie, you always bring us perfect fits, so thank you so much to Reggie also. Exceptional host who is going to get so good at saying hellos and goodbyes. All the people in the room. I know it. I know it. So I want to also greet everybody who came in after we said the hellos. We've got other folks that came in from Puerto Rico and across the pond, and I'm really glad all of you guys are here. Thanks for joining. Let's all say a nice goodbye to everybody on Facebook Live. Bye, Facebook. Please join us again tomorrow. We've got amazing song leaders all week and all month of July, so just keep coming back. We'll be here.